Hello and welcome to today's video. So in today's video, I am going to be unhauling books. I feel like my space is very cluttered right now and there are so many books on this shelf that I have not read since, I don't know when I started my TBR pile, maybe like 2015-16, but there are just so many books on here that I have not read. And I had an Owl Crate subscription for a while, so those books, a lot of them ended up just sitting on my shelf. So I'm going to take you with me while I decide what books are not going to be taking up space for me in 2023. So let's go ahead and address right now that there is a cord hanging here on my bookshelf. That is because at the top of the shelf there's a speaker, and obviously the cord has not been plugged in yet. I got it for Christmas and we're struggling over here. I just took down my Christmas tree. So yes, this cord is hanging down. No, it won't be forever, but we're just gonna like try and ignore it to the best of our ability. So I know this angle is not the best, but up here is the top of my shelf and we start with white. So I'm just gonna be going through like, I'll go through like shelf by shelf and just kind of determine what I'm not keeping. So the first book to catch my eye is The Bone House. I've never heard of this book. I don't know anything about it. I got it in an Owl Crate subscription. I went ahead and brought the camera back down and I just figured I would show you guys the books as I pull them. But for The Bone House, I don't know anything about it. There's probably someone out there who would really like it better than me. Also has this really cute bookmark inside, and I just feel like I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it. The next book that I have is Mumbo Jumbo by Ishmael Reed. So this was a book for my master's, and I don't know if it was my favorite. And it was a very difficult read at the time. It's very dense to get through, and I just don't see myself ever like reaching for it and picking it up again. But also what I did read, I wouldn't use the term liked. Again, it's very dense and hard to get through at times, but I think I'm gonna keep it for now because I like what the book stands for. The Vincent Boys by Abby Glein. This was my jam back in the day, like a trashy YA read. I loved it, but these days it's not really up my wheelhouse anymore. I picked these up at a thrift store, so I think there is somebody else that is like 2015 Rachel that would really like this. So the next ones I have are Fill-In Boyfriend and By Your Side by Casey West. I never read Fill-In Boyfriend. I liked By Your Side when I read it. I think I'm gonna make like a list of books, like if I don't read it in 2023, then I am going to get rid of them. So I'm gonna keep these for now. I'm gonna keep By Your Side no matter what. I did like it. I'm not sure if I would pick up another Casey West book. So I'm gonna keep it for now. Then we have Winterwood. I love this cover. I think it's one of the only reasons that I still have this book on my shelf, because I think this cover is so pretty, and sprayed edges, that's my vibe. Pretty cover, sprayed edges. I don't know what this book is about. Okay, I think this will be one of the books that I keep on the list of if I don't read it in the next year, then it goes. But I don't even know if I'll be able to get rid of it because I think it's so pretty. But for now, I am gonna keep it. Dear Evan Hansen. What a journey we have had. I liked the musical when I saw it. I did not like the live action, or like I guess the movie version, and it's kind of just turned me off of Evan Hansen as a whole. So I don't see myself ever reaching for this, but I did like the musical back in the day. Just because even if I kept it for a year, I don't see myself reaching for it. It's hard. It's hard to let things go. I don't know. I'll think on this one. I'm going to put it in the discard pile for now. I'm just not 100% sure that it's actually going to end up being unhauled. Then we have the other Vincent Brothers book. So the other one they have very similar titles, but this one is also The Vincent Brothers by Abby Glein. Again, I liked it back in the day. It's just not my cup of tea anymore. So I am going to go ahead and get rid of that one. Then we have Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schlody. This is an Owl Crate book. I have never looked at it since I got it. I think the cover is gorgeous, but I do think I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to it. Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. I actually own 2 copies of this book. So I own the Owl Crate version, but I had also purchased it myself. So I own the regular cover edition. I am going to go ahead and get rid of the regular cover edition. For now, I'm going to keep the Owl Crate one. I really was hyped about it when it first came out. That's why I bought it myself. But I don't know. I haven't heard much about it since, but also I don't really follow fantasy that close. But I'm going to keep it for now. Then we have Scythe by Neil Shusterman. So I picked this one up at a thrift store. A lot of people talked about this book back in the day and won a prize. I don't know. I think this will go on the list of books that if I don't read in 2023, I'll get rid of. But I am still intrigued by the premise. Then we have Impulse by Ellen Hopkins. So I read Crank a couple of years ago. It's a very interesting read. I just don't see myself picking up any more of them. I own Crank, Impulse, and Burned. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and take them off my shelf. It's a very daunting read, and there's just so many other things I want to get to that I just don't see myself reaching for this. We have Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. So I picked this up because I believe there was a movie coming out and I wanted to see the movie. I never ended up seeing the movie and I never read the book. I think this book has potential and good representation. It's just not something I've ever reached for. I think I'll keep it for now, but I don't know that I'll keep it again in the future. When Dimple Met Rishi. So I know that they have this book and then the spin-off on my shelf. I don't remember which one came first. It has been such a long time now that I don't know. I don't know. It seems like a really cute YA though. This is so hard. Everyone always says unhauls are so hard, and now I understand why. I think I'm going to keep it for now though. Next I have Spin the Dawn. So this is another book that came in Owl Crate. It has some goodies inside. I think I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to this one. I've never reached for it. I've never thought about it. And I think someone else could love it more than me. Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. I have never reached for this book. I picked it up at a garage sale because I had seen the movie and wanted to read the book. But honestly, I just don't think I'm ever going to reach for it. Dandelion by Gabby Hanna. So I have it signed. I loved Adultolescence. I loved Gabby Hanna. Since owning this book and over the past couple of years, I can't say that I love Gabby Hanna. So I am going to go ahead and give this one to a new home. On the Fence is another Casey West book that I really liked when I read it. I think I did a whole book review on it, but I haven't thought about it since. It has a lot of nostalgia though, so I'll keep it for now. I think I just need to pick up another Casey West to see if she's still my cup of tea. Adrenaline Crush by Lori Boyle Crompton. I picked this book up at a thrift store. The sticker's still on it. At the time, it sounded really interesting. It's about a 17-year-old girl whose life is like completely thrown off track when she splinters her ankle and ends up what she describes as a hippie healing center where she meets people and is forced out of her comfort zone. And it's a short read. It is 180 pages, which is super short. I've just never reached for it, and I don't see myself reaching for it in the future. I think it still sounds cute, but I think it could go to a better home. The Sunbearer Trials. I don't remember anything about this. So it looks like it has good representation in it, and I know I bought this book after hearing someone talk about it, so I think I'll put it on like a list of if I don't read it, I'll get rid of it. But I am still intrigued. Oh, we have a few here. Scarlett Epstein Hates It Here. I have owned this book for quite a while. I've never reached for it. I've never thought about it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. From what I understand, it follows a teen girl. Ooh, it says, and Ruth, her weed-smoking 73-year-old neighbor. But it kind of follows a teen girl who starts like an anonymous blog maybe and talks about her classmates and doesn't ever want them to find out. But I think that sounds cute. It's just not up my lane at this time, so I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This is another disappearance novel, so kind of like I Kissed Sarah Wheeler, or whatever the new Casey McQuiston book is. And Morgan Matson is a very well-known YA author, so I think I'll keep it for now, even though I've owned it for 8 years and haven't read it. But I still would like to read it. I like when I look at the synopsis, it still sounds cute, so I'll keep it for now. Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. So I picked this book up in like a specialty bookstore I had gone to, and I just really wanted to support the small bookstore, so I picked this one up. It doesn't have a synopsis. I have no idea what this is about, and I've never reached for it, so I am going to go ahead and let this one go. Here So Far Away by Hadley Dyer. Again, this is a book I picked up at a thrift store because I had heard about it. Reading the synopsis, it doesn't scream like anything I would be like drawn to at this particular time, so this is another book that I think would do better on someone else's shelf. We have Adultolescence by Gabby Hanna. This is another book I enjoyed at the time that I read it, but I am gonna go ahead and say goodbye to it. I've never reached for it again, and I think I'm ready to kind of part my ways with Gabby Hanna. Nick and June Were Here by Shalonda Stanley. So I remember people talking about this book a while ago. It does have good representation in it. I mean, I don't know if it's good, but it has representation in it, mental health representation. So I am going to keep it for now. I Want to Be Where You Are. I know nothing about this. I would keep it solely for the cover. But I don't plan on unhauling it. I just don't know what this is. All right, so it sounds like a cute YA contemporary about a girl who wants to chase her dreams of ballet. That is something I would read still, so I'm gonna keep it for now. Next, we have How to Breathe Underwater by Vicky Skinner. So this is, again, a book I picked up at a thrift store. I thought it sounded cute at the time. I've never reached for it, and I don't see myself reaching for it anytime soon, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. It follows the story of Kate, who is a swimmer, and Michael, who's a cute boy across the hall, and they exchange lessons. So Kate wants to teach Michael how to swim, Michael wants to teach Kate the salsa, in like an exchange. So it sounds pretty cute. It's just not something I would gravitate toward. This Adventure Ends by Emma Mills. I love this cover. I have never reached for it. So it's another missing persons book where a group of people team up to track down the missing person. I am going to keep it for now. I think that still sounds cute, but I am aware that I've owned this for a very long time. Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I wanted to love this book. It has bisexual representation. It takes Leah from one of my favorite stories, Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I didn't get there. I did not love this. So I do love the cover though. Like, please, dear publisher, please give me a cover like this. But I am going to go ahead and say goodbye to Leah. Here's the other one, From Twinkle with Love. I am still going to keep this one too, but I found it. Next, I have Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. And if this is another missing persons book, I think I'm going to have to do like a themed TBR of missing persons, because I have quite a lot of them. So this is not a missing persons book. It does have mental health representation. I am afraid that it might be a like fall in love and then you're saved forever based on the description, but I am still willing to give it a try. So I'm going to keep it for now. Next, I have All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. I first just want to say this cover is gorgeous, and I love it very much. I know nothing about this. I got it in an owl crate. Okay, after briefly reading the synopsis, it does still sound good, and it does sound like a fantasy I would pick up, so I'm going to keep this one for now. Brooding YA hero, becoming a main character. Twitter sensation. If you were around on Twitter back in like the late teens, then you remember this guy. He was pretty big in the YA world. I don't keep up with anything social media wise, so I'm not sure what happened to him, but I haven't heard anything about him or his novels since it was released, and I've never picked it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. So this is another book. I don't know if it was this one first or Geekarella, but either way, I picked them both up. And I thought the premise sounded really cute. Haven't picked them up since. I'm gonna keep it for now. The Last Word by Samantha Hastings. So I ordered this book because of a post I saw on Twitter, and I've never reached for it. It's a historical fiction piece, which typically isn't my thing, so I am gonna go ahead and say goodbye to it to give it to someone who would much more appreciate it. I Hope You Get This Message by knightsrachel. So this is a book that came in an owl crate. Here's the little owl crate note. With only 7 days to face their truths and right their wrongs, Jesse, Kate, and Adine's paths collide as their worlds are pulled apart. The end of the world has never been this mesmerizing, quoted by Adam Silvera. I just don't ever see myself reaching for this. The premise does sound really cute, but I think after this long of owning it, I had Owl Crate in like the 2016-17 time period. So I think after this long of owning it, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I heard someone rave about this, so I bought it. I think it was a Clockwork Reader, but I'm not going to say that for 100% certainty. But I think it's a very intense fantasy. I am going to keep it for now because I don't feel like I have very many fantasies like this. But I'm just not 100% sure on what it is or what I was drawn to about it. A Spot of Trouble by Terry Wilson. I picked this book up for the cover. Look at those cute little Dalmatians. I'm obsessed. I'm solely keeping it for the cover. Will I ever read it? Maybe, but I can't get rid of these cute little Dalmatians. The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody. This is another book I picked up because of the hype, and it reminds me a lot of Textrovert by Lindsay Summers. Hello, here's Textrovert. So in Textrovert, there's a cell phone swap. It used to be called the cell phone swap. And the two have to like meet up again to get their cell phones back and like not be in each other's business. You know what I mean? So we have The Chaos of Standing Still, which is another like cell phone swap book. It does sound really cute. I am going to keep it for now. Here's Geekarella. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure Geekarella came first. But yeah, I'm going to keep this one for now. Also, look at that cover. I'm kind of obsessed with the cover. It might be one of the sole reasons I'm keeping it. The Last Beautiful Girl by Nina Lauren. I picked this up in an airport bookstore because I finished the book that I brought. While it does sound interesting and I do love the cover, it's about a girl named Isa who lives in a gorgeous mansion, like an old mansion, and it kind of sounds like the floors are boarded up, paintings are covered, and there's no cell phone reception. So already this is definitely some sort of thriller. And then we have Alexa, who is a skilled photographer. And then we get a guy who could be her boyfriend. And then we get friends who are just in it for the fame. There seems to be a lot going on, and it's not really something that's up my alley. So I am going to go ahead and say goodbye. The Bells by Danielle Clayton. So this is another book I bought when it first came out and then didn't end up picking up. I think there's a TV show or movie that was announced about this one. Ooh, I'm still interested in that. So I am going to keep it for now. All right, so those are all the books that I spotted on these two shelves that I think I either would get rid of or just did. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to the other two shelves over here. So over here we have an array of shelves. So the two I just did are my rainbow shelves, but they're not, I don't feel like they're ever done or they're ever going to be done, but they're not done. So it's like half rainbow. And then this behind me is like series and things I didn't want to separate for the rainbow, and also black and gray books. So go ahead and start diving into these. Oh boy, okay. So all the way up top here is where we have Harry Potter. I'm very on the fence about the Harry Potter collection. And I don't think I have an answer yet. because I painstakingly collected all of those and the illustrated copies. It's not something I'm ever going to pick up again, and it's not an author I will ever support again. So do I really want that on my shelf, you know? I think the answer is no, and I just have to like get there. So for now, they're going to stay where they are, but I don't expect them to be there for quite much longer, which is really sad. I'm sad to let that piece go, but I feel like it is for the best. So let me bring you over to this shelf here, because this is a series shelf. So first I have the Twilight series, and then I just filmed the 23 books to read in 2023 video, so Midnight Sun should be here, it's just not. Then I have the Hush Hush series. So I read Hush Hush, I don't remember how long ago now. Maybe, I feel like I was either in college or just out of college, like 2017, 2018. And I loved it so much that I bought the rest of the series immediately and then never picked it up. So I think I am going to give this series another try because I loved it so much. I'm not sure how long that'll last. Then we have the Hunger Games, which we are going to go ahead and keep. And then Cinder. So I bought the whole series collection of, I don't know what this series is called. Oh, the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. And I have never reached for them. And I feel like I'm more interested in the Twisted Tales than I am of Cinder. And so even though it breaks my heart, I am going to go ahead and let these ones go. Can't remember if this is part of the Lunar Chronicles. No, so it says best-selling author of the Lunar Chronicles. I'm going to go ahead and let this one by Marissa Meyer go too. I think it might be an Alice in Wonderland retelling, but it's just something I've never reached for. That shelf looks so empty. All right, let's keep going down. So this next shelf here are more series. So first I have The City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, books 1 through 4, gifted to me by Ali Novak. I'm still willing to give this series a try. So like we can see, I made it partially through the second book back in the day before I didn't finish. But I'm not ready to say goodbye because I still feel like I can like this. So I'm going to keep it for now. Then we have the Percy Jackson and an alien, but mostly Percy Jackson books 1 through 4. What I'm thinking and what I'm prepping myself to do is to get rid of my Harry Potter shelf and give Percy Jackson the light that he deserves, because I loved Percy Jackson so much as a kid. And I think it's time. That is the current plan, but obviously I'm not getting rid of them. Moving over, we have more aliens, and then we have my classics. So I have Little Women, Anne of Green Gables, and Heidi, all in the, excuse me, Mr. Alien, the Puffins, I don't know, collection, like their new branded covers, which I love. So I will be keeping those. We have Christmas ornaments that never ended up getting used. I had plans to decorate my bookshelf and then just never got there. Next series is The Romeo Catchers by Elise Arden. I won't be getting rid of those. I think a new one is coming, but these are the 3 that I have so far. This belongs to Mickey Mouse ears. And the final series that will be leaving my shelf is After by Anna Todd. So I did finish After and After We Collided. I didn't finish the rest of the series. I don't see myself gravitating toward them again, and I watched all the movies, so there's nothing holding me back there. So I am gonna go ahead and let these ones go to a new home. My shelves are so empty. Hello. So moving down, this is my poetry shelf, and then BoJack Horseman. This is the BoJack Horseman art book, and I love it, and I'm obviously not getting rid of that. These are all of my Amanda Lovelace books. So starting with The Princess Saves Herself in this one, every book in every edition I own, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And then over here are all of my other poetry books not by Amanda Lovelace. I didn't like Dragon Hearts when I read it, and I felt like I needed to keep it because it had Amanda Lovelace in it and Tristan Mentier. I've never read Nikita Gill on her own, but I don't need to keep that if I didn't like it. So I am going to go ahead and unhaul that one. And I think that's the only poetry book I'm going to unhaul right now. Okay, so now we're down at the bottom of my shelf. Here are all of my childhood books. So I have a collection of fairy tales, a collection of stories by Beatrice Potter, and then a collection of Christmas tales. I won't be getting rid of those. Then we have To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Let me sit down. So I didn't love this book, and I picked it up because I wanted to watch the movie, firm supporter, and reading the books first. But I bought the book, so I supported the author. And I just don't see myself ever reaching for the second or the third one. And so I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Next we have a series by Lynn Rush and Kelly Blount. And it started with Gutter Girl, which I still have. But it's been rebranded since. So the first book is now Cover Up Crush. And so I'm not going to get rid of that series. I think it sounds really cute. And I want to collect all of them. So next I have my Nancy Drew books. I won't be getting rid of those. That was a big part of my childhood. Okay, the next series I have is The Coincidence of Callie and Caden by Jessica Sorensen. And don't talk to me how this middle book doesn't line up with the rest of the books. Like, why would you do that to me? But yeah, so we have the whole series. So the Callie and Caden, Violet and Luke, and then the Unbeautiful and Untamed. And I am going to keep those. I really loved those back in the day. And so I'm not ready to let those go. Down here at the very bottom, I have Crooked Kingdom and Six of Crows. Again, 2 books I won't be getting rid of. I just bought the rest of the series, so I can finally read these. And I also have Mother Goose Nursery Rhymes back here. And I won't be getting rid of that. So now I'm going to move you over to these shelves. Dinosaur Therapy is a really cute book. I'm not getting rid of it, but it's their Dino Comics on Instagram, and I recommend. We have A Monster Calls. I'm not going to lie, it sounds scary, but I'm still willing to give it a try for now, so I am going to keep it. And then I just have celebrity books. So Lindsey Vonn, Dan and Phil, and Mr. Kate. I have all their books down there. Not getting rid of those at this time. Then we have my fantasy. And I feel like this is a shelf that is definitely going to be transformed because I don't see myself reaching for a lot of these. Starting with We Hunt the Flame. This is a book that came to me in an owl crate and I've never looked at. So I am going to go ahead and say goodbye to this one. It's just not something I've ever reached for and I don't see myself doing. The Deception by Kirsten White. Again, another owl crate book that I've never reached for. This is why I stopped owl crate. So what's really interesting about a lot of these owl crate books is I think it was Spin the Dawn, another one, and then these 2 are all about girls posing as boys in a society where being a girl, you can't do anything. It's like a Mulan trope. And I just don't think that is going to call to me. I think it would just make me very angry. It kind of seems to be a really big trope right in these books that I'm looking at. But it's not something I'm going to pick up. Now we have room for these books that were stuck at the top. Tara is another new book I just got that's fantasy. I'm not obviously unhauling a book I just bought that just came out. House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin Craig. Another owl crate book. All of the stuff always falls out as soon as I open it. Ooh, it does have a really cute octopus though, so you didn't even see it, but maybe something I'm into. I like sea books. So that still does sound interesting to me, so I am going to keep it for now. Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim. Oh, owl crate. That does still sound pretty interesting, so I am going to keep it for now. But I feel like with all the books I've gotten rid of off the shelf, maybe it'll be easier for me to remember. Then we have Crier's War. Oh, it's an owl crate book. I shouldn't be surprised at this point. I mean, reading the synopsis, I just don't think this is something I would gravitate toward. And I've owned it for this long and haven't read it. So I'm going to go ahead and let that one go. The Haunting of Hill House is a book I 100% know I will never pick up. It's a horror. I went to the haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. It's 100% a horror book, so Rachel will never pick this up. I do scary things one time a year, and that would be the Universal experience. So those are all the books that were questionable on this shelf. The rest I knew I was keeping, so we're gonna go ahead and move our way up. Don't look at this shelf is all that I ask. I know it's a mess. It's supposed to be my comic book shelf. I just haven't gotten there yet, but I'm trying. So for right now, this is just as a dog toy, a dinosaur and a giraffe. We do have 2 Marvel Studios and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier books over here. And then the Wakanda files are here, but that shelf is just a work in progress still. So we're gonna move up. So moving up to this next shelf, this is all YA, contemporary romance, just not rainbow. So just gonna take a look through here real quick. A lot of these are also my friends' books, which I obviously won't be unhauling. So like Ask Amy is written in French, and I can't read French. It's a multimedia book. If you can read French, I would love to read it. I just can't. But it was written by Ellie, and I love Ellie, so we'll be keeping that. If you saw my February wrap-up, you know that I had a lot of feelings about Every Last Word by Tamara Islandstone, and so for that, we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye. If you didn't see that wrap-up, just know the OCD representation in that book was a miss for me. A Heart and a Body in the World by Deb Kaladi. So this was a reading requirement for my master's, and I didn't love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. Slammed in the Point of Retreat by Colleen Hoover. This is a student-teacher relationship. So I don't feel like I need to expand on that. I picked it up because of the prospect of slam poetry, which I love, but I'm just not gonna read this. Battle Dress by Amy Ifaw. So this is about a girl that goes into her basic training at West Point and her struggle with that. It is up my alley because I like books where romance is not the central point. I just don't ever see myself reaching for this one in particular. So I am going to go ahead and let this go, but I understand why I picked it up at the thrift store. Why Did I Ever by Mary Robison was another reading requirement for my master's. It's a very strange book, I will admit that. But I don't think I'm going to unhaul it. I don't think I'll ever read it again, per se. But it's interesting. It's different, and I like having it on my shelf. Ooh, okay. Beastly by Alex Flynn, which this movie was hot and steamy back in the day. I don't think I've ever reached for the book, and I don't see myself reaching for it. So I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. It's a shame that I watched the movie and didn't read the book, but I'm just not going to reach for it. And then we have the very top shelf all the way up here, which is just more YA contemporary and romance, but in hardback. We have Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. We all know crate. I don't think this one speaks to me very much, and for that I am going to go ahead and let it go, but it does sound like a little cute YA contemporary. Okay, Top 10 by Katie Canugno. It doesn't sound like a book I would currently pick up. It sounds cute and like a cute YA romance. It's just not currently in my wheelhouse, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this one go. Everyone's an Aliabin when you're an Aliabin too. I read this book. I don't remember much about it, but I think I remember it being cute, so I'm gonna keep this for now. A Soldier and a Liar by Caitlin Lochner. I don't remember picking up this book. So it's another military read, and it has supernatural powers in it. So I am going to go ahead and let this one go as well. Famous in Love by Rebecca Surley. I remember picking this up, at the thrift store. So I think this is either a TV show or a movie, and that's why I picked it up. But I've never reached for it. It's about a girl who ends up on it as a star of a reality TV show. And that's just not really my cup of tea, so I'm going to let that one go. Burned by Ellen Hopkins. I got rid of Impulse. I'm going to go ahead and unhaul Burned as well. Well, I honestly can't believe it, but those are all of the books. And that is everything I'll be unhauling. So I'll kind of show you the disastrous aftermath. So there is the first pile of books, the second pile of books, and the third. There are some series. Ignore. Those are clean dishes, by the way. Just ignore them. And there's 2 stacks of books over there, and then 1 on the floor. And then over here, we have 23 books to read in 2023, so you should definitely check out that video. But yes, those are officially all of the books I'm going to be unhauling today. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys again with my next video. Bye!